Hey, mrparka here to do an update. Let me just hop into this. I'll start with the DVDs. We have Oh Lucky Man, which I have not seen. This is the beginning of a trilogy. I put the second one on Voodoo in HD, and got the third one on Blu-ray. We have Wax Mask, which is supposed to be a Fulci-Dario Gen 2 collaboration when he passed away. That's Region 2. We have The Hollow. Looked like it was good Halloween fun. Have not seen it. Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Hysterical Psycho, which I have not watched. Again, really cheap. Same thing with the Addicts Expeditions, which is supposed to be a pretty unique movie. Jeffrey Combs and Seth Green. Tulpa, which is supposed to be an Italian-inspired new horror film. Where was it made? I believe this is a French film. It's probably French. Primordial, which I really loved. There's a review for it if you want to check it out. Kind of independent, crime, drama, horror, kind of pretty cool stuff. Really dug it. Platoon of the Dead, I was at the screening in Kent, Ohio of the Dead Next Door Remastered, and J.R. Buckwalter was selling some stuff, and I didn't have this one. He didn't do this one, but I had a lot of the early Tempe stuff. We have Darkplace, which is supposed to be really, really funny and crazy and unique. Have not watched it. What else do we got here? We got this horror anthology right here by Dark Sky. It's supposed to be like 8 films on here. I have not heard much about it or seen it. It looks interesting. And then we have this one, which I'm really happy to see released. Tempe hadn't done this one on DVD yet, but is Robot Ninja from J.R. Bookwalter, and this one was made after Dead Next Door. I think it went Robot Ninja, Dead Next Door, and then Tempe had Skinned Alive and come out. And those movies all, I think, are shot on Super 8, and I love all those movies. This one is no exception. Like I said, I love this movie. This is really great to finally see it on DVD. If you guys haven't seen Robot Ninja, I'd say check it out. It's got this really unique vibe going on. It has some goofy things, but the plot is kind of bizarre about this comic. Guy who does this Robot Ninja comic, and he doesn't like where they're taking the TV show. They're making it goofy, and he wants to do this kind of darker image, and he ends up trying to break up a rape and murder of these couple, and he gets hurt, and he decides to put on the Robot Ninja costume himself and become a vigilante, ending in, not so good for him. But that is Robot Ninja. Really, really cool movie. Low budget. I always loved it. We have a couple here from the Drive-In Collection from Vinegar Syndrome. We have The Executioner Part 2. I don't believe there's an Executioner Part 1. And Frozen Scream, which actually ended up on the Video Nasties list. I hear not really. It shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't belong on there. But yeah. Anyways, I'm looking forward to checking these out. There was a limited Blu-ray of those, but it's probably going for pretty expensive at this point. Then we have Revenge of the Virgins and Teenage Zombies, which I also got. I got their monthly pack. I think it was in the November pack. We have a Honeyspider, which I did a review for. Wasn't too big a fan of this one. We have Cryptic Plasm, which is by Brian Paulin. I love his movies, and this is no different. I reviewed this a long time ago. This is the actual pressing, which is really cool. You guys will know this. Him from Bone Sickness and among other things, Fetus. But anyways, Morbid Tales is also coming, which I'm really excited for. It's his newer film. Anyways, if you guys aren't familiar with this stuff, he's got some of the most imaginative, low-budget horror films going on with really cool effects and stuff. Really dig his stuff. That's a cool movie too. Cryptic Plasm. Then we have this. I picked up dirt cheap for $4. Attack of the Crab Monsters: War of the Satellites Not of This Earth, the original Roger Corman collection. It was at Ollie's. We have what is this one? Love in the Time of Monsters. I got this a long time ago. It was dirt cheap. Harbinger Down. Watch this. I watched it actually on Netflix. I was pretty disappointed with it, actually. I just had trouble following the characters and why they were doing some of the things they were doing. But some of the special effects are cool, and I appreciate their ambition. It's just, it just didn't live up to the hype for me. We have The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which is by Spike Lee. Have not had a chance to watch that. I don't hear too many good things about that one either myself. And then we have this How to Make a Monster and Blood of Dracula double feature. So I'm interested in those. They were pretty cheap. And we have Tales of Frankenstein. This is actually the Image release. And comes with a nice little booklet in here. This was actually, I believe, something that Hammer made a long time ago to try to kind of do the deal with the... let me see. I believe it was like a Kickstarter or something like that. Let me check. Yeah, this is a 1958 TV pilot for Hammer that never got picked up. I always was interested in that because I have all the other Hammer Frankensteins. And then we have the Strange Frequency 1 and 2, which I believe were like, came on it's VH1 anthology series. I have not seen them, but why not? I like anthology, so that's both of those. And now for the Blu-rays, Knights of Badassdom. This is a Joe Lynch movie that kind of dirt cheap, $5, and it was taken away from him, so I figured I'll give it a try for $5. Have not watched it, like Joe Lynch's podcast with Adam Green. And I liked, Everly quite a bit. And even Wrong Turn 2 was really cool. And their movie, Chillerama, I always dug. Well, most of the segments in it. We have Bloody Knuckles, which I haven't got a chance to watch. Can't go wrong with a killer hand, right? Then we have Mosquito from Synapse. This is a great movie. You know, Gunnar Hansen, R.I.P. Really, really fun stuff. You know, I always like this one, Giant Mosquitoes. I like that kind of 50s style made in the modern, like, at the time they were making a lot of them in the 80s and late and early 90s. They were making these, like, 50s inspired movies with the 80s kind of sentiment, and I love those. We have Dirty Work from Olive. This is one of my all-time favorite comedies ever. I can't believe this is PG-13. I must have watched this movie 100 times. I've never seen so many dead hookers in all my life. Lord knows I have. All-time favorites. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors with Peter Cushing. This is, I believe, is an anthology. Kino. This is Olive, sorry, my bad. And Olive also did Dirty Work. And Olive also released Sometimes They Come Back, which is one I always watched as a kid, always enjoyed. Theater of the Deranged 2. This is, again, an anthology. This one has Dustin Mills one. The one that inspired Apple Cart, which I was a part of. So, yeah, I dig the Apple Cart short quite a bit. A couple of the other shorts on here I don't mind either. A couple of them I don't like at all. I'm just like, eh. So it's a mixed bag for sure, like most anthologies. Mixed bag. We have The Fly, the original with Vincent Price. Really classic movie here. Love Vincent Price. Anything with Price in it, I'm pretty much a sucker for. We have Holliston Season 1 and 2. I've not seen these. You know, listen to the podcast. They talk about them nonstop, so I picked them up. Started watching the first season. Seemed kind of funny. We have some Dustin Mills ones here. Let's see what we got. We have Black Heart and White Hell, which I helped on. And, yeah, it's a pretty unique movie. Surreal, kind of 30-minute thing. It also has a short on here, Abduction, which I helped on and was in. And I actually really thought that Dustin did a good job with that short. Then we have the double feature of Hornet Sting and the Hell It's Caused and Apple Cart. I had Apple Cart on Blu-ray, but I didn't have Hornet Sting. Again, I'm involved with most of these movies, helping them out and stuff, so it's kind of hard to give an opinion. But I think that Hornet Sting and Apple Cart are both worth checking out. Her Name is Torment and Snuff It. These two, I was very mildly involved with Snuff It. But yeah, this is the double feature here, Blu-ray. But Her Name is Torment is this weird, surreal, crazy movie. And Snuff It is one of a kind. I'm not sure how I feel about Snuff It, but one thing is, it is very unique, and that's always a lot better sometimes than watching something you've seen 100 times, watching something unique. It's about those are both cool movies. It's about like a guy who kind of has this, like, puppets are in the real world, and he decides to go all Hitler on the puppets and, you know, wipe them out. And then Invalid, Dustin's newest movie, which actually I think is probably his best work, I think. Again, biased as all hell, but I think it's one of some of his best work. Really enjoy it. Kind of like a Giallo, Italian-inspired type deal. Then we have Pigpen, which I picked up, and this was like one of the last Blu-rays they had. I got lucky, and you know, I really wanted to love that movie, but I just couldn't get into it. The sound was really rough for me. I have hard hearing. I'm kind of like partially deaf, I think, from my work, and I don't have good hearing, and I just couldn't hear a lot of the dialogue over the music, and there was like a major hiss to it, and it was a really kind of dialogue, character-driven movie. So it was a bit distracting, but I do like that the director and most of his work usually, like Seventh Day and all that other stuff, like Mutantis and Isle of the Damned, I really enjoy. So I mean, maybe I'm just need to check it out again. We have a couple others here. The Black Cat. These are just screeners I got. Both the kind of Your Vices, Locker Room, and Only I Have the Key, and The Black Cat. Both very interesting Italian horror films based on The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. Loosely based, I'll say. But check out the reviews if you're interested. And then we have couldn't pass up the Criterion sale. I picked up two. Roman Polanski's Macbeth. Heard this one is pretty good. Pretty crazy. And If, which is the third in the Lindsay Anderson one. The other one, I believe, is called Britannia Hospital, which I have on Vudu. I have not watched any of these yet. But this one I had actually before. I didn't get it. I didn't wait. This is The Brood, David Cronenberg. A classic, one of my favorites. Oliver Reed, amazing in it. Then we have Blood and Lace, which is a PG sickie. People always describe this one to me as like the most PG sickest film ever. And I seen this years ago on a bootleg, and I was happy to see this one's getting a Blu-ray release. It deserves some recognition for being just a crazy batshit weird movie that it is. Really cool stuff, actually, that they're doing that one. And I see people complaining like, oh, you're releasing this and this and this. And a lot of times I'm not interested in a lot of the Blu-ray reissues. I don't think that movie for me is worth upgrading. But when I see something like Blood and Lace that's never had a DVD or Blu-ray release, I'm all gung-ho about, period. Whoever releases it, I'm happy about it, as long as it's a decent quality. Then we have from Scream, Demon Knight. All-time favorite of mine. Love Demon Knight. Love it, love it, love it. Great cast. Billy Zane, Dick Miller, William Sadler, Thomas Hayden Church, Jada Pinkett Smith, Gary Farmer. Everybody's great in it. Everybody's hilarious in it. Does a great job. And then we have Army of Darkness. This has all the cuts on it. I heard one of the cuts is kind of screwed up or something. I'm not sure about that. You people have to look into it. I'm not necessarily sure. But it has the theater version, the director's cut, international cut, and the TV cut. I love Army of Darkness. I mean, everybody should love Sam Raimi, pretty much, if you're into independent horror films. Or, you know, very rarely does a director have, you know, the energy and balls to just do some of the crazy camera shots and things that Sam Raimi did. And it doesn't happen very often. I would say maybe somebody like some John Woo or even like Peter Jackson have that kind of energy sometimes. But we have Bound to Vengeance, which I haven't had a chance to check out. Not watched it. Bloodsucking Bastards, which is a vampire comedy by Scream. Have not watched it yet. And I got lucky here. I got the Vincent Price Collection 1, which is out of print. It's The Pit and the Pendulum, The Masquerade of Red Death, The Haunted Palace, Fall of the House of Usher, The Indomitable Dr. Fives, and Witchfinder General. Out of here, I've seen, which one have I seen? I think The Fall of the House of Usher, which is pretty cool. The Fives is a classic. If you haven't seen Five, do yourself a favor and watch those movies immediately. And Witchfinder General, which is pretty a cruel role for Vincent Price. Kind of bizarre to see him. But yeah, I'm happy to have this set. Long live Price. He's the best horror icon of all time. And then we have the Vincent Price Collection Part 2, which has The Raven, The Comedy of Terrors, The Tomb of Ligeia, The Last Man on Earth, Dr. Fives, or Fives, I call them Fives, Rises Again, The Return of the Fly, and House on Haunted Hill. Another good collection there. I have not seen all those. Let's see what else we got here. And then we got, it's also cool that they released a Part 3, Vincent Price Part 3 collections coming out soon, so that's cool. We have The Deadly Prey, which I've never seen. I guess this is taken from a master tape or something. It's not a film print and blown up, so there's no reason for it to be on Blu-ray, but I picked up the Blu-ray. I don't know. Guess Habit. That's a Pryor movie. Is it Ted Pryor or David Pryor? David Pryor's the director. Ted Pryor's a star in it. And I was interested in it. And then we have The Deadliest Prey. Has a big cult following. The Deadliest Prey, which I have not watched. It's a sequel made way later. Killer Workout by Pryor. This movie is goofy, cheesy, fun. Make a great double feature with something like Death Spa, or maybe even Toxic Avenger. I'd put it with Death Spa. Death Spa is actually really fun, too. That one, again, upgraded from a different kind of negative. And then Shock 'em Dead, which is a goofy rock and roll horror slasher, which I haven't seen in a few years, but I remember it being kind of funny. There was an old DVD that they released. That was like a 15th anniversary that I picked up. Then we have Demonoid, which was from, Exploitation TV. Picked this up. Have not watched it. From Vinegar Syndrome, Exploitation TV. And then Frightmare, which is a trauma film. Have not had a chance to watch that. And what else? I'm approaching the end here. Let's do this in one last hurrah. We have Gore Horror from Sub Rosa. Been wanting to see this movie for the last, 20 years of my life. Kind of weird 9-year-old looking around for Gore Horror. But that was me. And then we have Gorotica. This is the part of the trilogy of Gore Horror. And the last one's Gorgasm, not to be confused with the Pteroptics. New Orleans guys, or Louisiana guys. But, the third one's not been released on Blu-ray yet, or I don't know if it has a release in the future. I hope so, because I'm kind of a completist, and seeing that not be there is kind of like, it just kind of drives me nuts. And then we have 4 from Kino. We have Avenging Force. This is actually, I got a recommendation from one of the guys at the Severin table when I asked him about some kind of, I was like a Goon Squad or something, a Severin table at Wasteland, and he said something about that movie, and so I grabbed it and I watched it. It is amazing, folks. You guys have to see this. This is like just a crazy, big, canon action movie with John P. Ryan's the bad guys in it. The bad guys are so cruel. I couldn't believe some of the stuff I was watching for that kind of movie. I was just like, geez, man, this movie's silly and crazy, but also has this more stuff in it than movies do nowadays that actually mean something. Avenging Force is definitely worth your time. Then we have the Oblong Box with Vincent Price, and I think it's Christopher Lee in this one. Yeah, I have not watched this. Kino. And 2 more Kinos. We have the Premature Burial, which is Roger Corman, and the Tales of Terror by Roger Corman. I made sure I picked up all the Corman Poe adaptations so I could watch them before I can't get them anymore, because that first Vincent Price set almost screwed me going out of print, and I got lucky getting one. But I believe that's all I have. Thank you for sticking by, and have a good one.